He took an aggressive stance as an editor. Cody insisted that the quality of the writing in his pages be elevated, championing Hammett as a model for his other writers, and imposing what might be called the black mask editorial formula on his authors. Cody encouraged longer, more violent stories, and he insisted on action and adventure in the fiction he published, rather than simply what the previous editor called unusual subject matter. The main characters of the stories Cody published were masters of their world, offering readers vicarious triumph over the threats and frustrations of modern urban life. Cody the businessman set about cultivating a dedicated readership who knew what to expect issue after issue. From Hammett, Black Mask readers expected the Continental Op. Hammett flourished under Cody's editorship. But as he began to take his editor's compliments to heart, as he developed a surer confidence in his writing ability, and as his financial situation became more stressed when his wife became pregnant with their second daughter, he asked for more money and was denied. Hammett didn't take no well. By the end of 1925, he decided that he had had enough of Cody and his magazine, and he said so before quitting. In November of that year, he wrote a letter to Black Mask, apparently a response to Cody's solicitation of his opinion about the most recent issue. Hammett warned him, "Remember, I'm hard to get along with where fiction's concerned." He then offered perceptive criticism of each story in the issue, concluding with the comment that 3 of the stories simply didn't mean anything. People moved around doing things, but neither the people nor the things they did were interesting enough to work up a sweat over. Hammett was busy by that time writing stories for other markets in which interesting people from various walks of life do interesting things. Those stories are in this volume. In fall 1926, Cody became circulation manager and vice president of Black Mask parent company, Pro Distributors, and Joseph T. Shaw was named the new editor of the magazine. Shaw's first move was to attempt to lure Hammett back into the fold. He offered more money and promised to support Hammett's literary ambitions. Hammett, who needed the money to help support his growing family, capitulated. Over the next 2 years, he focused on Black Mask with stories that were longer and more violent than ever before. When the editors at Knopf, Hammett's hardback publisher, read his first 2 novels, Red Harvest and The Dane Curse, both in 1929, both of which had first appeared serially in Black Mask, they responded in both instances that the violence is piled on a bit thick. With that, Hammett turned to tough-minded dramatic confrontation rather than violence as a means of advancing his plots. As he famously told Blanche Knopf in 1928, he was trying to make literature of his work. These stories document his efforts to that end. He was also trying to make more money from his work, perhaps because his health was improving a bit, clearly because of his pressing financial needs. Hammett began promoting his writing career with renewed energy in 1928. He sent his first novel to Knopf, unagented, and they accepted it for publication. The same year, he traveled south to Hollywood to try to sell his stories for adaptation as movies. By that time, the new sound movies were clearly about to transform the movie industry, and Hammett wanted in on the action. He began writing fiction in a form that could be easily filmed, paying attention to restrictions of time, place, and action. It is fair to say that by the end of 1929, Hammett's fiction was shaped by an intent to make not just literature, but movies of his work. By 1930, he had sold Red Harvest, the unrecognizable basis for Roadhouse Nights in 1930, featuring Helen Morgan, Charles Ruggles, and Jimmy Durante in his first movie role, and The Kiss-Off, which was the original story for City Streets, in 1931, starring Gary Cooper and Sylvia Sidney, to Paramount. Warner Brothers released the first of what would be 3 film versions of The Maltese Falcon in 1931. During the early 1930s, he worked for Howard Hughes's